Setup of Goals Achieving System. You've heard it all before. The motivational speeches, the inspiring podcasts, the books that promise transformation. You set a goal, feel that rush of excitement, write it down with perfect penmanship, and tell everyone who listen about your grand vision. Then, life happens. A week passes. The excitement fades. Reality crashes in with its chaos and demands. You find yourself back where you started, wondering why the same cycle keeps repeating. You feel like a failure, not because you lack desire, but because you lacked something far more critical, a system that actually works. Here's what nobody tells you. Goals sound inspiring. Systems win wars. This isn't another book about dreaming bigger. This is about finally building something real. Something that holds you up when you're exhausted, stressed, and questioning everything. Something that runs on action, not motivation. Something that transforms your life quietly, steadily, and unstoppably. If you're tired of starting over, your answer isn't a bigger goal. It's better architecture for your daily life. Chapter 1. Choose actions that match your future self. You don't inherit the life you want. You construct it. Every single day, with every single choice, you're either building towards your vision or retreating into your past. This is the most important truth you'll ever internalize. You get what you want by becoming the person who deserves it. Most people operate in a dangerous delusion. They claim they desire transformation, yet their actions scream the opposite story. They say they crave health while choosing comfort and convenience. They proclaim ambitions of wealth while squandering time and avoiding the grind. They speak of peace while poisoning their mind with negativity and constant noise. The disconnect isn't new. It's fatal. Your words are merely wishes floating in the air. Your behavior is the only truth that matters. It's the difference between those who stagnate and those who soar. Growth isn't about setting ambitious goals and hoping the universe conspires in your favor. It's about constructing a life that reflects your deepest values through deliberate, intentional action. Every micro-decision you make accumulates. You're either choosing the action that sculpts your destiny or the habit that keeps you prisoner to your past. And make no mistake, you're choosing every moment, whether you realize it or not. The critical question becomes brutally simple. Do your daily actions match the person you claim you want to become? This is the paradigm shift that changes everything. A goal sounds inspiring. A system wins wars. This isn't another book about dreaming bigger. This is about finally building something real, something that holds you up when you're exhausted, stressed, and questioning everything. Something that runs on action, not motivation. Something that transforms your life quietly, steadily, and unstoppably. If you're tired of starting over, your answer isn't a bigger goal. It's better architecture for your daily life. Chapter 1. Choose actions that match your future self. You don't inherit the life you want. You construct it. Every single day, with every single choice, you're either building towards your vision or retreating into your past. This is the most important truth you'll ever internalize. You get what you want by becoming the person who deserves it. Most people operate in a dangerous delusion. They claim they desire transformation, yet their actions scream the opposite story. They say they crave health while choosing comfort and convenience. They proclaim ambitions of wealth while squandering time and avoiding the grind. They speak of peace while poisoning their mind with negativity and constant noise. The disconnect isn't new. It's fatal. Your words are merely wishes floating in the air. Your behavior is the only truth that matters. It's the difference between those who stagnate and those who soar. Growth isn't about setting ambitious goals and hoping the universe conspires in your favor. It's about constructing a life that reflects your deepest values through deliberate, intentional action. Every micro-decision you make accumulates. You're either choosing the action that sculpts your destiny or the habit that keeps you prisoner to your past. And make no mistake, you're choosing every moment, whether you realize it or not. The critical question becomes brutally simple. Do your daily actions match the person you claim you want to become? This is the paradigm shift that changes everything. A goal sounds inspiring. A system wins wars. This isn't another book about dreaming bigger. This is about finally building something real, something that holds you up when you're exhausted, stressed, and questioning everything. Something that runs on action, not motivation. Something that transforms your life quietly, steadily, and unstoppably. If you're tired of starting over, your answer isn't a bigger goal. It's better architecture for your daily life. Chapter 1. Choose actions that match your future self. You don't inherit the life you want. You construct it. Every single day, with every single choice, you're either building towards your vision or retreating into your past. This is the most important truth you'll ever internalize. You get what you want by becoming the person who deserves it. Most people operate in a dangerous delusion. They claim they desire transformation, yet their actions scream the opposite story. They say they crave health while choosing comfort and convenience. They proclaim ambitions of wealth while squandering time and avoiding the grind. They speak of peace while poisoning their mind with negativity and constant noise. The disconnect isn't new. It's fatal. Your words are merely wishes floating in the air. Your behavior is the only truth that matters. It's the difference between those who stagnate and those who soar. Growth isn't about setting ambitious goals and hoping the universe conspires in your favor. It's about constructing a life that reflects your deepest values through deliberate, intentional action. Every micro decision you make accumulates. You're either choosing the action that sculpts your destiny or the habit that keeps you prisoner to your past. And make no mistake, you're choosing every moment, whether you realize it or not. The critical question becomes brutally simple. Do your daily actions match the person you claim you want to become? This is the paradigm shift that changes everything. A goal sounds inspiring. A system wins wars. This isn't another book about dreaming bigger. This is about finally building something real. Something that holds you up when you're exhausted, stressed, and questioning everything. Something that runs on action, not motivation. Something that transforms your life quietly, steadily, and unstoppably. If you're tired of starting over, your answer isn't a bigger goal. It's a better architecture for your daily life. Chapter 1. Choose actions that match your future self. You don't inherit the life you want. You construct it. Every single day, with every single choice, you're either building towards your vision or retreating into your past. This is the most important truth you'll ever internalize. You get what you want by becoming the person who deserves it. Most people operate in a dangerous delusion. They claim they desire transformation, yet their actions scream the opposite story. They say they crave health while choosing comfort and convenience. They proclaim ambitions of wealth while squandering time and avoiding the grind. They speak of peace while poisoning their mind with negativity and constant noise. The disconnect isn't new. It's fatal. Your words are merely wishes floating in the air. Your behavior is the only truth that matters. It's the difference between those who stagnate and those who soar. Growth isn't about setting ambitious goals and hoping the universe conspires in your favor. It's about constructing a life that reflects your deepest values through deliberate, intentional action. Every micro decision you make accumulates. You're either choosing the action that sculpts your destiny or the habit that keeps you prisoner to your past. And make no mistake, you're choosing every moment, whether you realize it or not. The critical question becomes brutally simple. Do your daily actions match the person you claim you want to become? This is the paradigm shift that changes everything. A goal sounds inspiring. A system wins wars. This isn't another book about dreaming bigger. This is about finally building something real. Something that holds you up when you're exhausted, stressed, and questioning everything. Something that runs on action, not motivation. Something that transforms your life quietly, steadily, and unstoppably. If you're tired of starting over, your answer isn't a bigger goal. It's better architecture for your daily life. Chapter 1. Choose actions that match your future self. You don't inherit the life you want. You construct it. Every single day, with every single choice, you're either building toward your vision or retreating into your past. This is the most important truth you'll ever internalize. You get what you want by becoming the person who deserves it. Most people operate in a dangerous delusion. They claim they desire transformation, yet their actions scream the opposite story. They say they crave health while choosing comfort and convenience. They proclaim ambitions of wealth while squandering time and avoiding the grind. They speak of peace while poisoning their mind with negativity and constant noise. The disconnect isn't new. It's fatal. Your words are merely wishes floating in the air. Your behavior is the only truth that matters. It's the difference between those who stagnate and those who soar.
So ask yourself right now, with complete honesty, what do I do every single day? What patterns do I repeat every week? What behaviors persist even when nobody's watching? That's your current system. And your system is either building your destiny or sabotaging it. If you want to respect yourself when you look in the mirror, you must respect your behavior. If you want genuine control over your life, seize control of the forces that shape you, your choices, your habits, your daily routines. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You already know which behaviors help and which ones hurt. You just need the courage to be honest about it and the strength to change it. You don't lack time. You lack direction. You're not unprepared to begin. You're ready right now. You just need to start doing. Because once your life becomes a reflection of your system, you no longer need to depend on motivation. You wake with purpose embedded in your bones. You rest knowing you've made progress. Make choosing aligned actions your non-negotiable standard. Not occasionally, not when you feel like it. Make it your identity. Make it sacred. And when life inevitably throws chaos your way, and it will, your system will hold you steady. Because you're no longer reacting to circumstances, you're actively building your future, brick by brick, step by step. You don't rise to the level of your dreams, you fall to the level of your systems. And that system is constructed from what you repeat, not what you say or plan. Build it with intention, live it with commitment, and never forget, your system is your future in motion. You either design it consciously or you drift into someone else's plan. That's the real cost of unconscious living. The life you want isn't far away. It's built into what you do next. Make that next move count. Make it reflect your values. Make it reflect your standard. Make it reflect the person you're meant to become. Because once your daily actions and your deepest vision finally converge, you don't just wish for change, you live it every single day. And that, my friend, is how you build a life you'll genuinely be proud of. Chapter 2. Build patterns that feel natural, not forced. Here's a brutal truth. You cannot force your way into lasting transformation. This is where most people fail catastrophically. They try to build change through sheer willpower and relentless pressure, grinding, struggling, fighting every day. Then one day, they collapse. If your habits don't feel authentic to who you are, you simply won't maintain them. And if you can't sustain them, they'll change nothing. Real, lasting transformation begins when you construct patterns that fit your life, your personality, your rhythm, not some idealized version of you that doesn't exist. When you force habits that feel foreign, you build inner resistance. Each day becomes a battle. Soon you're avoiding the work entirely, not because you're lazy, but because the system doesn't feel like you. It feels like someone else's discipline. It feels like you're living a borrowed life. This is the hidden reason people abandon their systems. They're trying to adopt someone else's discipline instead of building their own. They copy what worked for an Instagram influencer or a best-selling book without ever asking the crucial question, does this actually work for me? You must stop treating your system like a punishment. That's unsustainable. A powerful system should feel like you're giving something valuable to your life, not extracting from it.
When you design your patterns around who you genuinely are, something magical happens. Ease emerges. With ease comes flow. With flow comes authentic consistency. And consistency, not intensity, is what actually transforms lives. The people who succeed over decades don't rely on hype or occasional bursts of extreme effort. They rely on rhythm. They understand their limits intimately. They know their strengths, and they deliberately build around them, not against them. You don't need to wake at 4 a.m. if your mind ignites at night. You don't need to read 10 books monthly if deep reflection teaches you more. You don't need to journal hourly if that's not how your brain works. There is no universal rule. What matters is discovering what fits you and repeating it consistently. This is where self-awareness transforms from feel-good psychology into practical power. Ask yourself with honest precision, what energizes me? What drains me completely? When do I think most clearly? What throws me off the rails? If you don't understand your own patterns with clarity, you'll keep forcing systems that don't fit, and that path leads to burnout. Start by observing your current behavior without judgment, not to criticize yourself, but to learn from what's already working. When do you feel most focused and capable? What segment of your day gets wasted without purpose? What single activity do you naturally perform every day without needing force? That's your starting point. Take what's already working and architect around it intelligently. If you naturally gravitate towards evening walks, transform that into thinking time or gratitude reflection. If morning silence feeds your soul, protect that space fiercely and use it for planning or deep work. If you have a daily coffee ritual, attach meaning to it. Use it to review your day or check in with your habits. Sometimes you don't need to add more. Sometimes you just need to add intention to what's already there. The goal isn't to build a perfect schedule, it's to construct a rhythm that pulls you forward instead of pushing you down. When a system truly fits, it feels light, it feels supportive, it feels like you're being held instead of shackled. And that feeling is what sustains you through exhaustion and chaos, through stress and doubt, through life's inevitable messiness, because it's become part of your identity now, not a task you tolerate, but a pattern of living that feels like home. Here's an unshakable truth. Change never happens when you do something massive once. It happens when you do something small enough to repeat every single day. Your system doesn't need to be impressive. It needs to be real. If all you can manage is 10 minutes of genuine focus daily, start there. If you can only sustain 1 nutritious meal instead of 3, begin with that. If the only quiet moment available is before sleep, claim it and use it. The secret isn't perfection, it's emotional alignment. When your habits feel right, they don't feel like drudgery, they feel like self-respect. You start looking forward to them, not because they're easy, but because they align with who you want to be. And when your daily actions and your deepest vision finally converge, you don't just wish for change, you live it every single day.
Also understand this. Patterns evolve as you do. What works now might become obsolete in 6 months, and that's perfectly fine. Your system isn't fixed. Neither are you. Growth demands adaptation, but growth doesn't mean abandoning your foundation. It means adjusting, refining, improving without breaking the rhythm you've established. Maybe you introduce a new habit gradually. Maybe you release one that no longer serves you. Maybe you shift your schedule to accommodate a new chapter. That's not weakness or inconsistency. That's intelligence. The ability to stay flexible while maintaining commitment. That's what makes systems endure. Don't confuse structure with suffering. You can have discipline without guilt. You can have organization without anxiety. The finest systems don't trap you, they liberate you. They bring clarity, not confusion. They make life flow more smoothly, not harder. If your current habits feel burdensome, don't abandon them, reshape them. Start thinking in terms of anchors. What actions ground you throughout your day? What practices help you feel centered and present? It might be a morning stretch, a moment of quiet before work begins, a daily check-in with yourself, a phone-free evening walk. These small anchors matter more than you realize. They create rhythm, and rhythm is what keeps you stable when everything else feels unpredictable and chaotic. Life isn't always stable, let's be honest. You'll have terrible days. You'll lose focus. You'll feel completely off-center. But if your patterns are built authentically around who you are, you'll always return to them. Not because you're forcing yourself, but because they feel like home. That's what a truly strong system does. It brings you back to center. You don't need motivation every single day. You don't need boundless energy every moment. You just need a pattern that catches you when life throws you off balance. That's the remarkable power of building something that feels natural. It holds you even when you're not performing at your best. This is how you create momentum that actually lasts, not by stealing someone else's morning routine, not by forcing new habits every week, but by deeply understanding who you are and building around it with genuine care, absolute clarity, and unshakable commitment. Your life deserves that level of respect. Don't build systems to impress people. Build them to protect your peace. Build them to bolster your health. Build them to sharpen your focus. Build them to sustain you through days when your willpower has completely evaporated. That's the long game. That's what matters. If a system feels inauthentic, you'll abandon it. If it feels like punishment, you'll run from it. But if it feels like you, if it fits naturally into your actual life, you'll keep going. And that consistency is everything. Want to live better? Then live with more intention. Choose routines that honor the person you're becoming. Don't rush, don't force. Build it gradually, day by day, pattern by pattern, until your habits aren't something you do anymore. They're who you are. And once that becomes true, you no longer need to fight endlessly for discipline. You stop chasing success obsessively. You've simply become the kind of person who lives with unwavering purpose. Everything else flows naturally from there. That's the quiet, unstoppable power of building patterns that feel natural. They stay with you. They grow with you. They gradually create a life you're genuinely proud to live. Chapter 3. Remove pressure by focusing only on today. Your mind is carrying a burden that's far too heavy. Right now, you're thinking about everything at once. Your future stretches out before you, terrifying and undefined. Your past haunts you with its mistakes. Your current deadlines loom overhead. Your unfulfilled dreams whisper from the corners. You're trying to solve your entire life in a single moment, to fix everything, heal everything, achieve everything at once. And that kind of pressure doesn't elevate you, it crushes you. It makes you feel perpetually behind. It convinces you that you'll never catch up. It's suffocating. But here's the liberating truth. You don't actually need to carry all of that weight. You only need to deal with today. You can't live 3 years from now. You can't solve next month's problems right this second. You can't undo yesterday, no matter how hard you try. The only moment you have any real power over is this one, the one you're living in right now. And that moment doesn't need to be filled with paralyzing pressure. It needs to be filled with your complete presence. When you stop trying to conquer your entire life and narrow your focus to what matters right now, something miraculous happens. Your mind begins to calm. The fog lifts. You feel less stuck, less overwhelmed, because you're no longer chasing 10 directions at once. You're doing one thing that genuinely matters. This is how people begin to truly control their lives, not by having every answer, but by learning how to handle today with more wisdom and intention. When you make today matter, tomorrow becomes lighter. When you show up completely now, your entire future begins to shift, but it starts with narrowing your focus dramatically.
Stop trying to live in multiple directions simultaneously. That's where anxiety breeds. That's where guilt grows thick. That's where comparison steals your energy. Ask yourself this: what can I take care of today? Not in theory, not in fantasy, in your actual, real life, right now. Trying to become healthier? Don't project yourself into the entire year ahead. Simply ask, what's one genuinely healthy choice I can make today? Trying to improve your finances? Don't obsess about building wealth overnight. Focus on one conscious decision today that respects your money. Rebuilding your confidence? Don't wait for some perfect future version of yourself. Do one thing today that makes you proud of yourself. One day, one choice, one step forward. You remove the burden when you stop piling unrealistic expectations on your shoulders. You don't need to become everything. You just need to be honest. If your day feels impossibly heavy, give what you can. If your energy is depleted, offer what remains. It's not about executing perfection. It's about showing up and doing something intentional. And that shift from judging yourself by how far you have left to go to honoring what you accomplished today, that shift is what liberates people. Progress isn't always obvious. It's not always loud, but it's always real when it's consistent. The key is consistency without the paralyzing pressure that comes with perfectionism. That's what builds genuine trust in yourself. That's what makes you feel alive. Some people never move forward because they're obsessed with what they haven't yet accomplished. They wake up already feeling behind, and that creates stress before the day even truly begins. The antidote is presence. You don't fix your life by overthinking it. You fix it by showing up for what today needs from you, and that is always enough.
Something powerful happens when you narrow your focus to today. You start noticing what you've been missing. Your own thoughts become clearer. You feel your emotions more directly, without judgment. You recognize the tiny choices that compound into transformation. You actually start living instead of just reacting to life's constant demands. People talk about stress as though it's something completely beyond their control. But here's the secret. Most of that stress comes from stacking too many thoughts too far into the future. When you simplify your focus, you simplify your emotions simultaneously. The more you try to control everything, the more powerless you actually feel. But when you accept that all you truly need to do is give your best to this single day, pressure starts dissolving. You don't need to rush your growth. You don't need to repair everything at once. You just need to build a steady, reliable rhythm that makes you feel grounded. And the most powerful way to create that rhythm is to live by the day. Really live in it. The day you're in right now is the only one you can actually work with. Make it count. That doesn't mean you have to accomplish everything. It means you choose a few things that matter and do them with real intention. A short walk, a calm conversation, a focused work session, a nourishing meal, a moment to breathe and reset. These aren't small things. They're the foundation of a steady, meaningful life. When you live with too much pressure, you start interpreting every stumble as catastrophic failure. You think that one slip means everything is ruined. But when you're only focused on today, that pressure disappears because you're not trying to be perfect. You're just trying to be present. You're not asking for flawlessness. You're asking for genuine presence. And that is always within your reach. Some people have solid systems in place, yet still feel stuck. Not because they're doing the wrong things, but because they expect transformation to happen overnight. They want results before they've built the rhythm. They want change before they've established consistency. But the truth is immutable. Results come when you earn them day after day. It's not about speed. It's about sustained effort. Can you stay with your system when nobody's watching? Can you trust the process even when it feels painfully slow?
That's what separates those who transform from those who remain stuck. You don't answer that with words, you answer with action. What you choose today tells the entire story. So ask yourself right now, what am I chasing that exists outside of today? What worries am I entertaining that are stealing my energy? What can I release so my mind can finally breathe freely? You're allowed to be focused without being upset. You're allowed to care deeply without carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You're allowed to move forward without rushing frantically. That's how you find peace within progress. That's how you stay calm while building something better. Here's an undeniable truth. When you simplify your focus, clarity multiplies. You stop getting pulled in 5 different directions. You stop second-guessing yourself constantly. You stop comparing your journey to everyone else's highlight reel because now you're actually paying attention to your own road. You're walking it step by step. Most people dramatically overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 week and vastly underestimate what's possible through 1 year of steady, deliberate effort. The goal isn't to burn bright and crash. The goal is to stay in the game. And the only way to sustain that is to lighten the pressure and make each day count. Want to become stronger, wiser, more disciplined? Then do what that stronger person would do today. You don't need to do everything they'd ever do in a lifetime, just the next right thing. That's enough. When you focus on today, you stop carrying guilt about yesterday. You stop fearing what tomorrow might bring. You begin respecting the space you occupy right now. You start feeling more grounded, more alive, more genuinely in control. Because control doesn't come from predicting the future. It comes from being completely present in the moment you're experiencing. This is your space to work. This is your time to grow. Not someday, this day, this hour, this moment. And if today doesn't unfold as planned, you try again tomorrow. That's it. No shame, no drama. Just reset, restart, and recommit to yourself. This is how you stay free. You don't let pressure trap you in impossible standards. You remind yourself, I am building something real, and real things take time. You're not weak for moving slowly. You're strong for moving forward. You're not lazy for needing rest. You're wise for honoring your energy. You're not broken for having hard days. You're human for feeling them. So take a deep breath. Slow your racing mind. Look at the hours ahead. What can you do with them? What will bring you 1 step closer to the person you're becoming? That's what matters. Not what others expect, not what they think, what you choose. Make today light enough to carry, strong enough to build upon, and clear enough to guide you forward. Release everything else. This is your time. Don't waste it worrying about a future you haven't lived yet. Focus only on today and watch your entire life begin to transform. Chapter 4. Set up systems that calm your overwhelmed mind. When your mind feels completely overloaded, nothing becomes clear. Thinking becomes difficult. Focusing becomes nearly impossible. Taking action feels insurmountable. You're not weak for feeling this way. You're not broken. You're human. Life moves at an overwhelming pace. Expectations accumulate relentlessly. Distractions surround you constantly. But you don't have to stay trapped in that state. You can reclaim control, not by doing more, but by creating simple, elegant routines that dramatically reduce the number of decisions you make every single day. When your actions are decided in advance, stress decreases automatically. That's the real power of a system. It's a plan you can lean on when your emotions are overwhelming and your thoughts are scattered. When your mind stays calm, your thinking becomes razor sharp. You don't waste precious mental energy deciding what to do next. You already know. That mental clarity allows you to focus on what actually matters without getting trapped in cycles of doubt and distraction. A calm mind isn't passive. It's incredibly powerful. It helps you act from intention instead of panic. Consider this. How much of your daily stress comes from constantly scrambling to catch up, scrambling to figure things out, scrambling to manage overwhelming responsibilities, scrambling to handle unexpected crises.
Now imagine something different. Imagine if just a few of those things were already handled. How would your day transform if your meals were already planned, your top 3 priorities were already set, and your calendar was already organized? You wouldn't start your day in chaos. You wouldn't waste hours deciding things. You'd simply begin, and that beginning would carry calm instead of panic. That's the transformative power of a system. It creates mental space so you can focus on living, not just surviving. Start simple. Don't try to build the perfect routine overnight. That only adds more pressure. Instead, identify the specific things that stress you most. Is it your schedule, your health, your finances, your productivity? Choose one area and design a small, manageable system to reduce that mental load. For example, if mornings are absolute chaos, create a short morning flow. Wake up, stretch, drink water, review your most important task, and begin. Keep it simple and repeatable. The goal isn't to impress anyone. The goal is to protect your peace. Your system should work for you, not against you. It should smooth your day, not complicate it. If something feels heavy or forced, simplify it. Make it lighter. Make it realistic. You want to feel supported, not suffocated. You'll notice something remarkable. Once you have a solid system in place, you stop relying on willpower constantly. You don't need to push yourself endlessly because your environment is doing some of the work. Your habits carry you, your structure supports you, and within that structure, you find freedom, not restriction. It's not about being harsh with yourself. It's about being genuinely kind to yourself. A calm mind never comes from controlling everything obsessively. It comes from releasing what doesn't matter and creating patterns around what does. It comes from deciding something once and then living from that decision daily. That's what a system gives you, a steady path through the noise. One incredibly powerful way to calm your mind is to limit how many decisions you make daily. Decision fatigue is absolutely real. The more choices you face, the more exhausted your brain becomes. When you reduce that burden, you protect your mental reserves. So start deciding things in advance. Plan your meals for the week. Define your work hours. Set specific times for rest and recovery. Decide your daily priorities the evening before. These small, pre-made decisions compound into a much more peaceful day. Another transformative system is time blocking. Not rigid scheduling that feels suffocating, but giving your mind clarity on when to focus deeply and when to rest. If your entire day is a blur of tasks with zero structure, your brain never fully activates or relaxes. But when you say this hour is for deep work, this one is for a walk, this one is for rest, you give your mind actual space to function optimally. And don't forget to build in genuine stillness. Your mind can't process everything if it's always active. You need time to sit with your thoughts, time to breathe without checking your phone, time to genuinely reflect. Even 5 minutes of quiet can completely reset your mental state. Create a system for that. Designate a specific time each day when you disconnect. It might not seem significant, but those moments are where clarity returns. Many people wrongly believe that high performers are always working, always moving, always grinding, but the truth is exactly opposite. Those who actually succeed over the long term are the ones who fiercely protect their minds. They rest before they're completely exhausted. They prepare before panic sets in. They build systems not to do more, but to feel better while doing what matters. If you constantly feel behind schedule, you don't need to move faster. You need better structure. That persistent feeling of being behind is often a clear sign that your system isn't aligned with your actual life. And that's perfectly fine. Systems can change, you can adjust, but you have to stop expecting your mind to carry everything without support. Even the strongest minds get tired. Simplifying isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The most successful people don't make life harder than it needs to be. They build systems that genuinely support them through difficult seasons. Systems that help them refocus when they get distracted. Systems that remind them of what truly matters when everything feels overwhelming.
A good system can be as simple as writing your thoughts before bed to clear your mind, or prepping your clothes the night before to eliminate morning stress, or creating a weekly reset hour to check in with yourself. These aren't monumental tasks, but they give your mind real room to breathe. When your mind is overwhelmed, even tiny decisions can feel like enormous burdens. That's why preparation matters so deeply. That's why routine matters. The more you set up in advance, the more energy you have for what actually counts. You want to use your mind for creativity, for solving problems, for real connection, not constantly putting out fires and managing chaos. Remember this: your system should fit your current season of life. What worked for you 6 months ago might not serve you now. If you've experienced change, stress, or growth, adjust your system. You're not meant to stay frozen. Build one that matches who you are now. There's no prize for doing things the hard way. If your mind feels heavy, that's not a sign of failure. It's a signal, a message. It's saying you need to slow down, create structure, and clear some space. Don't ignore it. Respond with intention. Sometimes it all takes a 10-minute evening reset to preview the next day. Sometimes it's organizing your physical space so you don't lose time in chaos. Sometimes it's creating a personal rule, like no screens after 9 p.m. to improve your sleep. Each piece adds to your sense of calm. Each decision lightens the burden on your mind. You absolutely deserve to feel calm in your own life. You deserve to wake without panic. You deserve to sleep with your mind spinning. And you don't get there by pushing harder. You get there by setting up systems that make your day lighter, smoother, and more predictable. That's what genuine self-respect looks like. You don't just push through the storm, you build shelter. You don't just survive the chaos, you reduce it. You don't just fight your overwhelmed mind, you create space for it to rest. Your peace isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. And the more systems you build to support it, the stronger you become. Start with one area, one system, one small adjustment. Then keep going. Build a life that doesn't leave you completely drained. Build a rhythm that lets your mind actually breathe. And most of all, trust that it's possible. Because once your mind is calm, everything else becomes manageable. One system at a time, one clear decision at a time. That's how you take back genuine control. That's how you build a life that feels lighter inside.
Chapter 5. Stop chasing outcomes and fix what you repeat. Most people spend their entire lives obsessing over results. They get intoxicated by the finish line. They fantasize about the reward, the recognition, the applause. They imagine the perfect job, the ideal body, the abundant income, the validation they've craved their whole lives. But here's what they completely miss. Results don't just appear out of thin air. They're constructed through consistently repeating better habits. If your life isn't changing, it's not because you're not dreaming big enough. It's because you keep repeating the same patterns every single day and somehow expecting different results. That's not ambitious thinking. That's delusion. You don't rise to your intentions. You fall to your daily repetitions. When you get stuck chasing outcomes, you miss the actual work. You get lost in fantasy and forget about the reality you inhabit every single day. You start measuring your worth by what hasn't happened yet. You feel like a failure because you're not there yet. But success doesn't come from daydreaming about the outcome. It comes from getting serious about your daily actions. It comes from honestly examining what you repeat when nobody's watching. The things you do on autopilot shape your life far more than the things you carefully plan. The habits you permit, the routines you follow, the standards you accept, those are the forces that build or destroy your future. You can want better results desperately, but if your system stays the same, nothing will change. Not really. Every single day is a vote for the kind of life you're constructing. You vote with your actions, not your wishes. You vote with what you repeat. So the first step isn't chasing an outcome. The first step is slowing down and honestly observing what you're doing over and over again. Ask yourself, what am I repeating every day without conscious thought? What do I do when I'm tired, bored, or distracted?
What do I keep doing that I know isn't serving me? Maybe it's how you start your day, rushing headlong into distractions. Maybe it's your negative self-talk and constant self-doubt. Maybe it's how you eat, how you spend money, how you scroll mindlessly, how you avoid important work, how you delay rest, or how you give your time to things that give you nothing back. These repetitions matter infinitely more than the goals written neatly in your journal. They shape your mindset, your energy, your entire direction. If your habits are weak, your outcomes will always disappoint you. Even if you achieve something temporarily, you won't keep it. You'll revert to your old patterns. That's not genuine progress. That's temporary change wearing a disguise. Lasting transformation starts when you stop fixating on the finish line and start reconstructing the things you repeat every single day. You can't skip this step. You can't shortcut the process. You have to become the person who lives differently, not just thinks differently. This is where most people give up, because fixing what you repeat requires brutal honesty. It takes patience. It takes the willingness to admit that some of your cherished routines aren't helping you. But that's precisely where freedom lives. In the moment you declare, "I'm not going to keep doing this anymore." That moment is transformative. It's not dramatic, it's not loud, it's a quiet decision to shift in a new direction, one behavior at a time. You don't need to completely overhaul everything, you just need to become aware of your patterns and commit to changing one of them. Pick the one hurting you most, the one that drains your energy, wastes your time, breaks your focus, or keeps you trapped in guilt. Don't just try harder, replace it. Don't try to avoid your habits through willpower alone. Build better ones that make the old ones irrelevant. If you keep defaulting to scrolling, replace that time with something that genuinely fills you. If you keep skipping workouts, create a routine that starts with one simple movement you actually enjoy. If you keep eating from stress, build a pause before your automatic reaction and name what you're actually feeling. You're not weak for repeating the wrong things. You're just not aware yet of how much power your patterns actually hold. But when you start shifting your behaviors even slightly, your results will follow automatically. Focus on one small daily upgrade, one repeatable action that replaces the old loop. It doesn't need to be huge, it just needs to be consistent. Because repetition is how you build identity. The more you repeat something, the more it becomes your normal. Once it's normal, it becomes automatic. That's how change becomes permanent, not through bursts of motivation, but through patterns that become part of your daily rhythm. You have to view your life like a system, not a collection of isolated goals. What you do once doesn't define you. What you do every day does. And the more honest you are about your current behavior, the faster you can improve it. Don't waste your energy obsessing about results. Use that energy to completely rebuild your system. Ask yourself at the end of each day, did I act in a way that supports who I'm becoming? Did I move in the direction I claim to want, or did I fall back into the same patterns that have kept me stuck? Those are the questions that truly matter. Because once you understand your habits clearly, you have the power to shape your entire outcome. You no longer feel confused about why things aren't changing. You know exactly why. And from that clarity, you can finally make decisions that move you forward. It's time to stop treating results like the ultimate goal. The real goal is behavior change. Results are just a consequence. If you want something real, you have to start acting like someone who builds, not just dreams. This means doing the right thing when nobody's asking, showing up for yourself even when it's inconvenient, making the boring, small choices that nobody celebrates or notices. That's what creates separation. That's what distinguishes people. Not talent, not luck, not knowledge. Repetition. When you commit to fixing what you repeat, you take full ownership. You stop blaming distractions, external circumstances, or other people. You take back your power by consciously changing your actions. That shift moves you from waiting passively to leading your own life, from drifting aimlessly to deciding deliberately.
One of the most liberating realizations you can have: every system in your life is either helping you or hurting you. There's no neutral zone. The way you think, eat, work, sleep, speak, and react, it's either moving you closer to your potential or pushing you further away. So take responsibility for what you allow to repeat. Take responsibility for what you've let slide. Start replacing the things that drain you with actions that build you up. This process isn't fast, it's not flashy, but it's real and it absolutely works.
You're not stuck because of one massive problem. You're stuck because of small patterns that have never been challenged. Once you recognize them, you can break them. You can rewrite them completely. You can establish new loops that pull you towards something better without the constant stress of chasing results. You'll know you're genuinely changing when your life starts feeling different even before the external results appear. When you feel calmer, when your confidence grows, when you stop doubting yourself every time things get hard, that's the shift. That's the real payoff of fixing what you repeat. So from now on, stop asking, how can I reach this outcome? And start asking, what do I keep doing every single day? Because your actions today are creating your future, even if you can't feel it yet. It's not about more goals. It's about better systems. Not about doing more things, but doing the right things more often. That's how you build a better life. That's how you finally move forward with genuine strength, clarity, and real control. One honest decision, one simple action, repeated until it becomes who you are. Chapter 6. Train your brain to crave daily small wins. Your brain responds to what you reward. It pays intense attention to patterns. It remembers what felt good, what felt safe, what brought relief, what brought comfort. Over time, those moments shape what you chase every single day. Most people don't realize they've actually trained their brain to crave things that keep them stuck. Constant distraction, short-term comfort, quick validation. But here's the empowering truth. You can completely retrain your mind. You can teach it to respond differently. You can condition yourself to crave growth instead of escape. You can make progress feel better than avoidance. And the best way to start is by intentionally stacking small wins every single day. Small wins matter because they're real, they're within reach, they're tangible proof that you're capable of showing up and doing something meaningful. And when you start seeing yourself follow through on anything, no matter how small, it creates a fundamental shift in how you think, feel, and act. You begin genuinely liking who you're becoming. You start trusting yourself more deeply, and that's when your entire mindset transforms. Not because you accomplished something grand, but because you kept a promise to yourself today. The problem is most people wait for massive results before they allow themselves to feel proud. They wait for some dramatic breakthrough or major milestone before they acknowledge progress. But your brain can't sustain itself on delayed rewards forever. If your only motivation comes from huge achievements, you'll burn out long before you get there. You need daily evidence that you're moving forward, and small wins give you exactly that. That's the alchemy. When you start training your brain to look for small victories, your entire life transforms. Suddenly, completing your morning routine becomes a win. Drinking enough water becomes a win. Saying no to something that drains you becomes a win. Reading for 5 minutes, taking a walk outside, getting to bed on time, these all become moments where you proved something to yourself. And when you stack enough of those moments together, your confidence becomes unshakable. Not because someone clapped for you, not because you got external recognition, but because you actually followed through. This isn't about lowering your standards. This is about building genuine momentum. Every time you complete something small, you get a little spark of clarity, a little lift of energy, a little reminder that progress is genuinely happening. And the more you repeat that feeling, the more your brain wants to experience it again. You begin constructing a reward system around growth instead of escape. You start looking forward to doing the right thing because now it brings satisfaction, not suffering. You're not forcing yourself, you're reinforcing yourself. But to make this work, you have to pay attention to how you structure your day. Don't just hope for small wins. Build them in deliberately. Make them easy to reach.
Give yourself 2 or 3 things every day that you know you can complete with focus. These should never be overwhelming. They should be practical, clear, and tied directly to the life you want to live. And every time you finish one, pause for a moment, really pause. Recognize it, not with some external reward, but with genuine reflection. Let yourself feel the power of completion. That moment when you tell yourself, I said I would, and I did. That feeling trains your mind to seek it again and again. You're not just completing a task, you're teaching your brain what success actually feels like in your real life. The biggest mistake people make is completely ignoring their wins. They move from one task to the next without pausing. And when you do that, your brain doesn't get the reward signal, it only gets the pressure. Over time, that pressure builds frustration. You stop enjoying the process. You start resenting the work. You wonder why nothing feels satisfying. It's not because you're failing, it's because you're not celebrating progress in a healthy way. Start keeping a simple daily record. 1 page, 1 list. Write down your wins, however small, not for productivity metrics, but for proof. Proof that you're growing, proof that you're not standing still, proof that today meant something. Maybe you stayed calm in a conversation that normally triggers you. That's a win. Maybe you finally finished that task you've been avoiding. That's a win. Maybe you caught yourself falling into an old pattern and actually stopped it. That counts too. These wins might seem small in isolation, but they're the roots of a much stronger mindset. Because every time you complete something positive, you're reinforcing the belief that you're the kind of person who follows through. That belief, once it becomes strong, becomes unstoppable. And remember, this is a retraining process. Your brain isn't rewired overnight. It takes genuine time to shift what it pays attention to. But the more often you create wins, the faster it learns. And when it starts craving progress, everything shifts. Discipline becomes easier, focus becomes sharper, motivation becomes more stable and reliable. This doesn't mean you'll never have off days. You will. That's entirely part of the process. But when your mind is trained to seek progress, even your difficult days become less destructive. You don't spiral into despair. You don't give up completely. You simply return to your wins. That's the difference between those who transform and those who remain stuck. It's not talent. It's not intensity. It's consistency built on small, meaningful victories.
Don't wait until everything is perfect. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait for ideal conditions. Start creating wins today, even if it's just one. Start with something simple. Make your bed. Write 1 meaningful sentence. Finish 1 genuine task. Take a short walk. Send 1 important message. Whatever moves your life forward, even fractionally, do it and let it count. You don't need massive wins to believe in yourself. You need repeated wins. You need to prove to your brain that progress feels good, that action brings relief, that growth is absolutely possible even in small steps. You can build an entire life on small wins, a strong relationship, a successful career, a peaceful mind, a healthy body. It all starts with what you do daily, not what you plan annually. This also means staying genuinely present. If you're constantly focused on what you haven't done yet, you miss the genuine value of what you did accomplish. And when you ignore your effort, your brain doesn't register the progress. You feel like you're never doing enough, even when you truly are. That's not just unfair to yourself, it's destructive. So be fair to yourself. Recognize your genuine effort. Train your brain to appreciate it. Let it become comfortable with progress. Let it feel genuinely good about forward motion. This isn't self-indulgence. This is practical psychology. Your mind needs evidence. Give it that. Build habits around tracking your progress. Morning reviews, evening check-ins, weekly resets, whatever fits your life, but make it real. Don't just think about your wins in isolation. Record them, speak them out loud, share them with someone who truly understands. Bring them into the light. The more attention you give to the good, the stronger it becomes.
And once this becomes genuinely part of your system, something remarkable happens. You'll notice yourself moving faster with much less pressure, not because you're forcing yourself, but because you're flowing with momentum. You want the next win. You're not dreading the work. You're genuinely curious about what you can accomplish next. That mindset isn't a gift, it's a skill. A skill built entirely on repetition, a skill constructed by creating wins and letting your brain truly enjoy them. Over time, this becomes your complete new normal. You no longer crave destruction, you crave discipline. You no longer seek escape, you seek progress. And the absolute best part, you don't need external hype or validation anymore. You're not chasing some dramatic transformation, you're building one from the inside out. Quietly, steadily, through actions that make you feel genuinely strong, focused, and grounded. This is how you train your brain to crave small wins, not by trying harder, but by thinking smarter, by making progress feel genuinely rewarding, by creating daily proof that you're moving in the right direction. Don't wait to be proud of yourself. Be proud of what you're doing today. Be proud of the effort you're giving. Be proud of the habits you're forming. Be proud of the small wins that nobody sees except you, because those are the wins that count the most. Those are the wins that shape your entire future. And once your brain is trained to crave them, you don't just reach success, you live in it every single day. Chapter 7. Change what you do, not how you feel. Most people wait until they feel better before they take action. They wait to feel confident before they speak up. They wait to feel motivated before they start working. They wait to feel ready before they commit to something important. And they keep waiting, and waiting, and waiting. But waiting to feel right doesn't change your life. What changes your life is doing the right thing even when you don't feel like it. Because feelings are unreliable. They fluctuate with the weather. They shift with how much sleep you got. They change based on random conversations and stray thoughts. If you let your emotions decide your actions, you'll stay trapped in endless circles. But here's the truth. If you take action first, your emotions eventually catch up. That's how you build real change, by moving, not by waiting. Too many people live in destructive emotional loops. They say, I don't feel like doing it, so they don't. But then they feel worse for not doing it. So they try to feel better first. They look for comfort, distraction, escape. But comfort doesn't produce change. Comfort keeps you stuck. The only way out is action. And not just any action. Action that reflects who you want to become, not how you currently feel. If you're exhausted, show up anyway. If you're anxious, do one thing that brings you calm. If you're unmotivated, complete a genuine task. If you feel low, move your body. These aren't just tasks, they're declarations. They're decisions that separate you from your emotions. You are not your feelings. You are the person who decides what to do with them. Waiting to feel better is one of the most dangerous habits you can build because it trains your brain to believe that your emotions are in complete control, that you're powerless without the right mood, that you can't accomplish anything unless you feel inspired. But you're not here to live under the tyranny of your feelings. You're here to build discipline. And discipline begins the exact moment you act in a way that honors your values, not your current emotions. Every time you choose action over avoidance, you strengthen your identity. You build evidence that you can be trusted even on the hardest days. And the more evidence you gather, the easier it becomes to keep going. That's how real confidence grows, not from waiting, from doing. And here's an unshakable truth. Action changes how you feel. Not always instantly, but it definitely shifts your internal state. When you move your body, your chemistry transforms. When you finish a task, your brain releases energy and relief. When you follow through, your self-image improves tangibly. That's the emotional reward of action. You don't get it from thinking. You earn it through genuine effort. You don't need to fix your emotional state before you work out. You need to put your shoes on. You don't need to be in the perfect mood to study. You need to open the book. You don't need to feel confident to speak. You need to speak and then build confidence from the actual experience. These are the actual steps people avoid, and that avoidance is what creates more pain, not less. Because avoidance builds crushing regret. It builds guilt. It builds anxiety. You think you're giving yourself relief, but you're only creating more suffering down the road. The only way to break that cycle is to act your way through it. Do the thing. Don't negotiate with your feelings. They're not the enemy, but they're definitely not your guide. Your actions are the guide. There will be days when your mind insists it's not worth it. Days when you'll tell yourself you're not ready. Days when you'll convince yourself it's too hard. You don't owe your mind agreement. You owe yourself results. And results come from consistent action, not consistent emotions.
You won't always feel strong. That's okay. Be consistent instead. You won't always feel positive. That's okay. Be responsible instead. You won't always feel motivated. That's okay. Be disciplined instead. And if you can't access discipline, be honest with yourself. Tell yourself, this is genuinely hard, but I'll do it anyway. That statement is incredibly powerful because it separates how you feel from what you choose to do. Real growth isn't about waiting for perfect emotion. It's about acting with purpose, no matter what's happening internally. And the more you live like this, the more your emotions begin to respect your actions. You no longer get pulled into every mental storm. You have direction, you have structure, you have genuine self-control. This doesn't mean you ignore your feelings. You acknowledge them respectfully, but you don't let them decide. You say, yes, I'm tired, but I'll do what I can. You say, yes, I'm nervous, but I'm showing up anyway. That's emotional maturity. That's what separates people who talk about change from people who actually live it. Some days you'll have to work through resistance. That's simply part of the process. But here's the good news. The more you act through resistance, the less power it holds. You start feeling genuinely stronger. Not because life gets easier, but because you get better at handling life. That's the real reward of consistent action. You develop resilience. You become capable. And action doesn't mean intensity. It means direction. You don't have to do everything. Just do the right next thing, the thing that keeps you on the path. Even a small action done consistently creates movement, and movement changes your mental state faster than motivation ever could. People ask how to feel more in control. The answer is always identical. Take action that aligns with your values, especially when it's uncomfortable. Do the right thing, especially when it's hard. Don't wait for your feelings to support you. Lead them. Because your emotions aren't permanent, they pass, but your actions stay. They leave a mark. They build a track record, and that track record becomes your actual identity. You're not faking it. You're becoming it through action, through effort, through steady, repeated steps. Start noticing the moments when you hesitate. Catch them. Don't fight them. Redirect them. Ask yourself, what would the best version of me do right now? Then do that. Not because it's easy, but because it's right. You're not supposed to feel amazing every single day. You're supposed to be real. You're supposed to keep going. You're supposed to build something steady and strong, one action at a time. Not because you feel confident, but because your life matters enough to be built even on the hardest days. Stop chasing perfect emotional states. Start building patterns that don't depend on how you feel. Structure your time deliberately.
Build small tasks into your morning routine. Reduce the number of decisions you face. Make your routine so clear that your feelings don't even get a vote. The more structure you create, the less mental energy you waste convincing yourself to begin. You're not a machine, but you are absolutely capable of far more than your emotions suggest. Don't make your feelings the dominant voice in your life. Let them be one voice among many. Respect them, but don't obey. Respect them, but don't surrender to them. This way of living requires practice. It takes patience. It takes genuine courage, but it works. Over time, you'll stop waiting to feel right. You'll start doing what's right. And that's when your emotions begin working with you instead of against you. You don't need a perfect mindset to build discipline. You need repeated actions that build genuine trust in yourself. And the more you trust yourself, the less power your doubts have. If today feels impossibly heavy, do one small thing anyway. If your mind feels chaotic, focus on one clear task. If you want to skip everything, choose one win instead. You don't need to fix your emotions. You need to move forward through them. That's how your future gets built. Not by controlling how you feel, but by deciding how you live. Every single choice, every single step, until action becomes your habit and strength becomes your actual identity. Chapter 8. Design your routine to reduce overthinking daily. Overthinking absolutely drains your energy. It fills your head with too many options, too many doubts, and not enough actual action. When your mind is spinning all day long, you lose focus, progress stalls, you end up completely stuck in place. You replay conversations endlessly. You second-guess every decision. You wonder constantly if you're doing enough. This mental noise accumulates until even simple tasks feel completely overwhelming. Here's the truth. Your mind is exhausted not because you work too hard, but because it's been working on the wrong things, constantly thinking without any real direction. And the way out isn't to think more, it's to think less by designing a routine that frees your brain from decision overload. Most people wake up and move through their day without any clear plan. They decide everything in the moment. When to eat, what to wear, what to tackle first, how to respond to interruptions. Every little choice demands thought, and when there's no structure, every decision feels heavy and consequential. Your brain gets pulled in multiple directions all day long. By evening, you feel completely exhausted without even knowing why. That's the hidden cost of overthinking. It steals your mental energy and gives nothing back. But it doesn't have to stay this way. You can construct a routine that protects your mind from drowning in endless options. You can create structure that limits how much you need to think about the basics. You can free up valuable mental space so you can use your thinking power for things that genuinely matter. Start by making your morning absolutely predictable. Don't leave it open to chance. Set a clear sequence of actions you follow the moment you wake up. Nothing complicated, just a reliable flow that helps your mind ease into the day. Maybe you stretch, maybe you sit quietly, maybe you review your main priorities. Maybe you move your body for a few minutes. Whatever that flow is, let it be completely consistent. When your morning has genuine structure, you start the day with clarity instead of confusion. Then, simplify your choices throughout the day. Plan your meals in advance. Lay out your clothes the evening before. Use a checklist for your tasks so you're not trying to remember everything in your head. Set distinct time blocks for different types of work so your brain isn't constantly switching gears. These small details matter more than most people realize. They reduce your mental weight you carry. They reduce stress. They increase focus dramatically. The more predictable your routine, the more freedom your mind has to think clearly.
People wrongly believe that freedom means having zero structure, but that only leads to decision fatigue and emotional stress. Real freedom comes from knowing exactly what needs to happen and when. It removes the constant pressure to decide in the moment. It gives your brain rest, even while your body moves forward. When your routine is crystal clear, you also reduce emotional noise. You don't spend all day wondering if you're behind. You don't question constantly if you're doing the right thing. You don't compare yourself as much because your day has clear purpose and flow that fits you. That's one of the most underrated benefits of a powerful routine. It creates genuine mental peace. You don't need to plan every single second. You just need enough structure to guide your behavior without constant thinking. A good routine should feel like a support system, not a prison. It should help you move through the day with less resistance and more focus. When it's done right, you won't even need to think about it. You'll just move through it naturally. That's the goal. And the truth is, overthinking often signals too much freedom and not enough direction. When you leave your mind with too many open loops, it will try to solve everything simultaneously. That's why closing some of those loops with routine is so powerful. You take control by making fewer decisions and sticking to them deliberately. The more decisions you've already made in your schedule, the less mental space gets wasted on what-ifs. Start with your top 3 stress points. What parts of your day feel most chaotic or uncertain? Build a system for each of those. If mornings are rushed, set your tasks the night before. If afternoons scatter your focus, block a quiet hour to recenter yourself. If evenings pull you in too many directions, decide in advance how you'll wind down. You don't need a perfect schedule. You need a repeatable flow that carries you. Even your digital environment can amplify overthinking. Notifications, messages, updates, they all demand your attention constantly. If you don't control them, they'll fragment your focus all day long. Build clear limits. Set specific times to check your phone. Turn off alerts that don't actually matter. Protect your mental environment like your well-being depends on it, because it absolutely does. And don't forget to include genuine rest. Your routine should have moments where your mind can actually slow down. Time to breathe, time to process, time to be quiet. You're not a machine. Your brain needs recovery, not just constant stimulation. When you give it real space, it performs exponentially better. You make better decisions. You listen more clearly. You handle stress with more strength and wisdom. A strong routine also trains your mind to stop overanalyzing everything. When your schedule has rhythm, your brain gets conditioned to acting instead of doubting. That action builds momentum, and momentum builds genuine trust in yourself. You start genuinely believing in your ability to handle your day. That belief silences the noise. Also recognize that your routine needs to evolve. Life changes, your needs shift. A routine that served you 6 months ago might not work now. That's not failure, it's growth. Be willing to adjust, but adjust with purpose, not random impulse. Don't scrap your entire structure every time you feel restless. Make small adjustments that keep your routine effective and personal to who you are. Some people avoid routines entirely because they associate them with boredom. But routine doesn't mean doing the same thing forever. It means reducing meaningless decisions so you can focus on meaningful work. It means protecting your brain from constant exhaustion by removing mental clutter. It means living with more clarity, not less freedom. You want to stop overthinking? Then stop trying to manage your life entirely in your head. Build a routine that carries some of the weight for you. Let your calendar work for you. Let your habits support you. Let your system guide your focus so your mind can actually breathe. Overthinking thrives in uncertainty. It grows thick when nothing is planned, nothing is tracked, and nothing feels clear. A powerful routine brings that clarity back. It doesn't just save time, it protects your most valuable energy. It helps you make faster decisions. It lets you focus on what actually moves your life forward. And when your brain isn't working overtime managing the basics, you have more space for genuine creativity, real connection, and real calm. You start feeling more present in your own life. You notice more. You enjoy more. That's not a small benefit. It's the foundation of everything.
So design your day with clear intention. Build in routines that serve your focus, not steal it. Anchor your mornings with purpose. Protect your afternoons fiercely. Wind down your evenings with care. Limit distractions intentionally. Structure your work, schedule your rest, and let your system hold you steady so your mind can stop spinning endlessly and actually start living. The goal isn't to live like a robot. The goal is to live with more peace, less mental noise, and a clear mind that can handle real life without falling apart. And that starts with one simple habit at a time, built into a routine that truly works for you. Make it yours. Keep it simple. Let it grow naturally, and watch your overthinking begin to fade away. Chapter 9. Stay with systems when results feel too slow. Sticking with your system is effortless when things are working, when results start showing up, when progress feels fast and real, when you're getting noticed and praised, when you're feeling even slightly better. Staying committed feels natural. It feels inevitable. But the real test, the true measure of your character, comes when things slow down. When you keep doing the right thing, but nothing seems to change. When you show up again and again and the results remain quiet. When you're doing everything correctly, but progress feels invisible. That's where most people quit. Not because they're incapable, not because the system is broken, because they start doubting the process itself. They confuse slow results with failure. But the truth is, slow results are actually part of every real transformation. The outcome isn't delayed because something is broken. It's delayed because the process is working, silently, gradually, building something genuinely real. This is where your patience is either constructed or destroyed. You can't expect immediate rewards for deep change. You're not trying to patch your life temporarily. You're completely rebuilding it, and rebuilding takes genuine time. The problem is, our world is built on instant feedback, fast news, fast answers, fast validation, fast approval. And when progress doesn't come fast, we assume it's not working. But life doesn't reward urgency and speed. It rewards consistency. And consistency isn't proven in good times. It's proven when you keep going without applause, without recognition, without visible evidence.
There will be days when you genuinely wonder why you're still trying. Days when it feels like all your effort is going completely unnoticed. Days when you think, this should be working by now. And on those exact days, you have to remember why you started. Not for immediate results, not for quick change, but because you wanted to live with more intention, more clarity, and more genuine control. Your system isn't built to impress anyone. It's built to stabilize you, to keep you grounded when motivation disappears completely, to keep you focused when distractions tempt you relentlessly, to hold you steady when nothing external gives you validation. That's why it matters more than any short-term success ever could. A system that keeps you going is infinitely more valuable than one that delivers quick results and then disappears. You're not weak for feeling discouraged. Your efforts often feel invisible, but just because you can't see progress doesn't mean it's not happening. Some changes take longer because they're rebuilding parts of you that took years to deteriorate. It's not about intensity. It's about repetition. You show up, you do the work, you let the process unfold at its own pace. If you stop now, you'll never discover what was actually possible. You'll go back to the same exhausting cycle. Start strong, get excited, quit early, feel disappointed, start again, quit again. That loop isn't caused by failure. It's caused by impatience. You didn't give the system enough time to prove itself. But if you stay with it long enough, it starts rewarding you in ways that can't be measured immediately. Every time you show up when it's hard, you build mental strength. Every time you follow your routine when it feels pointless, you build profound resilience. Every time you stick to your habits without needing a visible result, you reinforce genuine discipline. And over time, these small efforts compound. They don't show up dramatically on day one. They don't always appear in obvious ways,
but they're rewiring you. They're changing your standards. They're changing how you respond to life fundamentally. You have to stop thinking of your system as something you only follow when you feel like it. It's not there for the good days. It's specifically there for the days that test you. When results slow down, that's your opportunity to decide who you really are. Are you someone who needs fast feedback to stay consistent? Or are you someone who shows up no matter what? Most people quit because they want progress to feel dramatic, but real progress is quiet. It's in the small decisions. It's in the daily commitment. It's in the refusal to give up. That's what sets you apart. Not how fast you improve, but how long you stay with what's right. Think about it like planting a seed. You don't see the roots growing beneath the soil. You water it, you wait, you give it sunlight, and for weeks it might look like absolutely nothing is happening. But something is genuinely happening. It's building strength underground. It's getting ready to break through. Your habits are exactly like that. You won't always see the benefit immediately, but if you stop watering the system, you'll never get the result. You'll never reach the part where things start flowing easier. You'll never experience the point where your identity changes. You'll never reach the moment where your effort finally meets the outcome you envisioned. You need to accept that the delay is part of the development. You're not just changing your life, you're changing how you fundamentally live. That takes more than a few days or weeks. That takes genuine repetition, even when the results are completely silent. When progress slows, double down on what actually works. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't add more just to feel productive. Stay with your basic structure. Trust your foundation. Keep doing the habits you committed to. Don't rush to fix what isn't broken just because it's not fast. You don't need to feel progress every single day. You just need to stay in motion. And when you do, the results start building up behind the scenes. One day, you look back and realize you're not in the same place anymore. Not because something magical happened, but because you didn't quit when things got quiet. That's the real miracle. Progress has seasons. Sometimes it's visible and obvious. Sometimes it's completely internal and invisible. But all of it counts. All of it matters. The hard part is staying consistent. When the reward isn't instant, that's where most people fall away. That's where most people search for shortcuts. But that's exactly where your future is being built. You're not supposed to feel amazing every single day. You're supposed to stay honest with your effort. You're supposed to keep your word to yourself, even when nobody else is watching. That's how self-respect is genuinely built. That's how real confidence grows, not from big achievements, but from quiet consistency. You'll know your system is truly strong when you keep following it even when progress slows down, when you don't need external praise, when you don't measure success by speed, when you value honest effort over temporary emotion. That's when you start living with genuine strength. The world will always tell you to move faster, look for shortcuts, chase quick wins. But shortcuts cost far more in the long run. Because when you skip the slow work, you skip the actual growth. And when things get hard, and they will, you have nothing solid to fall back on. Your system is your safety net. It's what holds you up when everything else feels uncertain. It's what keeps you grounded when life throws you off balance. And the only way it works is if you stay with it, especially when it feels like it's not working. You don't build your future on hype. You build it on steady repetition, on doing the work, not once, but again and again, on waking up each day and deciding to continue, even when you're exhausted, even when you're unsure, even when results are completely quiet. If it feels slow, that's okay. It's not broken, it's building. You don't need to force speed. You need to trust the process. Show up, follow through, repeat. It's not exciting, but it absolutely works. And when you stay with it long enough, something incredible happens. Your system becomes part of your identity. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to push yourself endlessly. It becomes who you fundamentally are. And from that place, results start growing faster. Not because you tried harder, but because you stayed long enough to let the work do what it's meant to do. That's how you actually win. Not by rushing frantically, but by refusing to quit when the progress feels slow. Stay with your system. Let time work for you. Keep building. Keep showing up. Keep proving to yourself that you're someone who doesn't need quick results to stay committed. Because that mindset will carry you farther than any burst of motivation ever could.
Chapter 10. Let your habits speak louder than your goals. People talk constantly about what they want. They write goals in pristine notebooks. They set ambitious deadlines in productivity apps. They speak about their dreams with genuine emotion. They announce their intentions to anyone who'll listen. But here's the brutal truth. Goals don't mean anything without the daily actions to back them up. Goals are merely statements. Habits are proof. What you repeat every single day matters infinitely more than what you promise yourself once a year. Your goals can inspire you, but your habits reveal the complete truth. They show what you actually believe. They demonstrate what genuinely matters to you, not in theory, but in practice. It's easy to say you want change. It's harder, infinitely harder, to actually live in a way that makes it happen. You don't need to tell people what you're working toward. They'll see it in how you move. They'll notice it in your consistency. They'll recognize it in your actual discipline. When your actions speak for you, you don't need to announce your intentions. Your habits make the message crystal clear. Setting goals can feel exciting. It gives you direction. It makes you feel like you're planning something important, but it's only the starting point. After the goal is written down, the real question emerges. What will I do today to honor that goal? Most people never actually answer that question. They stay stuck in the space between dreaming and doing. They plan, they hope, they wait, but nothing transforms until you actually act. And that action has to become your pattern, not a one-time burst of effort. If you say your health matters, but your daily routine includes zero movement, zero awareness of what you eat, no commitment to rest, your habits are speaking far louder than your goals. If you say you want to grow financially, but you never review your spending, never learn about saving, never actually show up to the work, your habits have already spoken the truth. If you say you want to live with more peace, but you stay completely connected to stress, endless distractions and drama every single day, your habits are showing what you actually allow. This isn't about guilt. This is about genuine responsibility. Your habits are in your hands. You control what you do with your time, your energy, your focus. You decide whether your actions line up with your values. And every single day, you are either reinforcing your identity or weakening it. You're either becoming stronger or more scattered. There's no in between. You don't need to chase a goal that stays forever out of reach. You need to become the kind of person who lives like they've already arrived. Someone who shows up not because they feel like it, but because that's fundamentally who they are. Someone who doesn't wait for motivation because discipline has become their actual lifestyle. This way of living isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. Are you doing what matters even when nobody's watching? Are you repeating the kind of behavior that creates real progress? Are your days structured to support your actual growth or distract from it? These are the questions that shape your entire future. Your habits are what you do. When it's boring, when it's hard, when you don't feel like doing anything, that's when your true character actually shows. That's when your system either holds you or fails you. If you need to rely on willpower every single day, you'll eventually burn out completely. But if your habits are clear and consistent, they'll carry you through without asking for too much mental effort. This is why daily actions matter so much more than big announcements. You can tell yourself you're going to change. You can post about your goals. You can tell your friends. You can make grand declarations. But if your actual habits don't change, nothing else will. The world doesn't need more promises. It needs more genuine follow-through. Every single day, you are creating patterns. Those patterns become your identity.
and your identity influences every future decision. When you start viewing your habits as the actual foundation of who you're becoming, you stop treating them casually. You protect them, you refine them, you show up for them because they're shaping the next version of you. Goals often exist in some distant future. Habits exist right now. Goals ask you to wait. Habits ask you to act immediately. You don't control when the results will finally come, but you absolutely do control what you repeat. And when you build habits that genuinely reflect your values, you start living with real integrity. You become the person you've been hoping to be, not someday, but right now. This mindset shifts absolutely everything. You stop needing inspiration to get started. You stop relying on big wins to feel progress. You start genuinely valuing quiet, consistent effort. You understand that real change is built in moments that seem small and insignificant. Waking up early, choosing focus over distraction, saying no when it's easier to say yes, putting in effort when nobody's watching. These habits aren't glamorous, but they're incredibly powerful. They create stability, they build momentum, they reshape your days into something you're genuinely proud of. Not because they make headlines, but because they help you live with real purpose. If you want people to genuinely respect your path, don't talk louder, live with more clarity. Let your behavior speak for you. Let your routine show what you're actually about. Let your follow-through tell the true story. People trust consistency far more than words, and so should you. Even on your worst days, your habits can guide you forward. When you're exhausted, when your mind is chaotic, when motivation has completely disappeared, your habits remain. They are the anchor that keeps you steady. But you have to build them before you desperately need them. You can't create a system in the middle of complete chaos. You have to build it in the quiet, one decision at a time. Start small. Make it genuinely sustainable. Choose habits that are realistic and repeatable. Choose actions that you can maintain even when life is messy.
Don't try to prove something with intensity. Prove it with consistency. Over time, your habits become automatic. You no longer think about them. You just do them. And that's when you've genuinely won. Not because the goal is reached, but because your actual lifestyle now matches the vision you once wrote down. There's something remarkably powerful about waking up each day and knowing exactly how to move. No hesitation, no confusion, just a clear system that reflects your priorities. That's what builds genuine self-respect. Not big achievements, but steady behavior that matches what you actually say. Let your habits build real trust with yourself. Let them be your quiet promise kept. Let them speak when you're tired of explaining. When someone asks how you stay so consistent, you won't need to say much. Your actual life will show it. Your daily actions will answer completely. So the next time you think about your goals, check your habits first. Ask yourself if you're genuinely living in a way that makes your goal inevitable. Ask yourself if your actual routine supports the future you claim to want. And if the answer is no, adjust now, not someday, now. You don't have to make noise to make real progress. You just have to stay in steady motion. Your habits are the most honest measure of who you're becoming. They tell the complete story without needing to explain. And when they're strong, you become genuinely unstoppable, not because of what you want, but because of what you actually do. Let your habits lead. Let them speak far louder than any goal you've ever set. Because when the doing is right, the results take care of themselves. Not overnight, but over time. Quietly, powerfully, without needing a single word of explanation. This is the power of systems. This is how you build a life you're genuinely proud of. Not through big goals, but through small, consistent habits that compound into something extraordinary.